Guess where I'm going? My truck is finished. Remember the deer hit it on its side? Well, Juan just called me up and told me it's done, so I'm on my way in for it. You know, you think about a deer running into your vehicle and causing some damage, then you take it to an auto body shop and you get it repaired. Voila, it's done. But what amazed me was what actually goes into putting that vehicle back together, the process by which these guys go through to get it right. I found it very interesting. Okay, well, I'm here with my good friend Juan, who owns AAA Auto Body, and he's going to show us exactly what he did with my truck.
Hi, good afternoon or good morning. My name is Juan Vecino. I'm here from AAA Auto Body in Sicklerville, New Jersey. We've been here for 39 years. We're a family-owned business. My father is still the owner after all these years, and he's the boss. I'm an employee from 8 to 4:30, and I'm his son afterwards. So I hope you enjoy this video and how we repaired the vehicle for Mark. You'll see here a photo on my computer screen of his bedside that was damaged from a deer impact, and how we would go ahead and proceed doing some different repairs that we've done for Mark's vehicle. The first picture obviously is we're going to start with what they call R&Is, or remove and install. If you see here where my pointer is, that the fuel door is out. One of the things, the reason that we pull that off is because we have to access the fuel filler neck, remove the bolts that hold that in place against the bedside. Next photo is we do a rough cut and we cut off the bedside, but leave about a 3-inch or 4-inch worth of the sheet metal where it's spot welded onto the inner section of the bed assembly. Okay, you have an outer panel, you have an inner panel, you have a wheelhouse. Okay, these particular areas is where the outer panel is mated or bonded to or welded to the inner panel. As you see, we cut out a section to make dealing with the spot welds a lot easier. Again, just a different angle of view. Now we're going to proceed to on my iPad to show some repairs in progress. Let me just make this a little larger. If you notice here, everything has been removed, and we're starting to apply what they call panel bonding adhesive along the top of the bed side. Now, the panel bonding adhesive is used to obviously make the outer panel bond to different sections of the inner panel. Now, we're still going to have to do some spot welds in certain areas, but this helps to maintain the panel's structural integrity. Here you'll see where there were spot welds along the front leading edge of the side panel, and where the spot welds were ground away. Do not drill holes through spot welds. You want to grind the outer panel where the spot weld is so it breaks away from the inner panel. Again, just different photos of where the spot welds would be. There is some welds or some panel bonding adhesive along the wheel opening or the wheelhouse. This is the new panel that we got from General Motors. Obviously, you can see it's the whole thing. You'll see here, if I can enlarge this, there's different places that are marked, and there's holes for where the MIG weld procedure is going to be. It could either be spot welded or MIG welded. We find that MIG welding is the best form of welding in this particular case. As you'll see, we go all the way around. There'll be different areas that your panel is welded. There will be holes where those particular MIG weld locations are going to be. Okay, along the bottom of the panel, along the inboard, again along the bottom of the panel, where it meets the bottom of the wheel house or bedside assembly. Now, this is the old bedside after it's cut off. Okay, and then this is the wheelhouse. They put some panel bonding adhesive right along the side of the wheelhouse to, again, locations that it's going to bond to or needed to be welded. Now, here there was a little damage to the inner wheelhouse. The reason we know that it was damaged, if you see the fractured paint right here, that had to be straightened out. Usually when there's an impact, you will get fractured to the paint. Right along here is actually a spot weld location below the tailgate hinge, so you have to make sure that you get all these places removed and smooth. Now, this is a piece of the upper panel. You can see here where the spot welds were grounded away, and you can see that they have a distinct, little round section of where it breaks away from the inner panel. This is after the outer panel that we replace has been welded in place, and then we finish it off with a skim coat of what they call body filler. So it's a nice professional finish. Okay, right here is a welding clamp. Wherever they need to do a weld, they'll put like a forked clamp. It clamps together. It's made by a company called Vice Grip, and it's specifically made for welds. Now this is when Mark had his truck here, he had some rust on the passenger side. So what we did is we tried to help him out here. His inner wheelhouse was severely rusted. It had some rust holes in some different areas here. So we took panel bonding adhesive, which is like a structural adhesive. We put it on, let it harden. And so when we put the replacement panel in that we made, it's going to give them some time. The only way to properly repair this is to remove this outer bedside like we did on the other side, cut out this wheelhouse, replace the wheelhouse, and reinstall a bedside. Very costly repair. Now this is only going to get you some time, but it should give you, a good amount of years if you do it properly, and everything always has to do with how well you do it. Again, panel bonding adhesive here to build up that wheelhouse to just give it some strength. It's going to take a long time before that starts to break away. If you notice that it's cut out in obviously a rectangular shape, because it'll facilitate the welding procedure. After we bond the wheelhouse into here, we will stitch weld all the way along the top and sides to make sure that everything's bonded in place. We are the old school here when we do this kind of work. We took a piece of the bedside from the opposite side of the truck, which we replaced, and we made our own panel. As you can see here, here's we had taped out the curved edge of the wheel opening, where that would actually be welded and bonded, and then go ahead and made the curve, as you can see, where the wheelhouse would, the curve of the wheel opening. Okay. Here is some rust that he had on the inner taillight pockets. What I advise to do here is not go through the cost of repainting it. There's a product called POR 15. Go to the website for POR15.com, watch the videos, and you'll understand why I recommend doing that. Okay. Again, just showing rust on both taillight pockets. It's common that happens in some of these vehicles, but that's unfortunately the age, 10 years old. The factories didn't use the best rust-proofing things in the world, so these are the things that happen. But if you address it and catch it, you can save yourself a little time before it goes through. We're now going to go back to the regular computer screen, and we're going to continue on some of the repairs. So here you can see again where the old panel was on. Now this is after we replaced the inner panel, after we replaced the quarter wheel opening for the passenger side, and then the body filler, of course, is going to go over the area that's already been repaired. So again, you want to make it as smooth as possible. Okay, after the panel's been replaced, we will go ahead and do the repairs and then send it over to the paint side. Now, a couple other things that we did on Mark's truck was we took his front bumper apart, on what they call R&I or overhaul. We got the metal bar out and then prepped it for refinishing. We use a sander called a DA or orbital sander, and we went ahead and sanded it to get all the stone chips and things off, any kind of surface rust that built up over time. Very important to go back to this picture. As you take it all apart, you want to make sure that you paint items with everything off. Same thing with the hood. The hood had some scratches on the leading edge and some little hail damage over here by the driver's side. So we went ahead and took care of that, and now they're DA in the hood to get it ready for paint. You have to make sure that you get everything nice and smooth, and then you're going to ultimately, once everything is sanded, apply primer and proceed from there. One of the other things we did is his body side moldings were starting to come off, so we removed them to replace the double face adhesive and then reinstall the moldings for him. This is the right side panel after it's been sanded and prepped before it goes into primer. Again, you'll see that everything is sanded, so when they prime it, it'll have a nice adhesion ability. When we took care of the hood, we removed the hood from the vehicle, took the bumper apart, the grill had to be removed. One of the things I like to note, you'll see the yellow tape. That is when you're removing a panel or working next to an adjacent panel. You don't want to damage that adjacent panel with a shifting of a door or a hood or whatever the case may be. So you always want to tape off the panel next to you so you don't damage that. Here's the rear door after it's been repaired in the cab corner. One of the things that you'll notice is that the door handle is off, the run channel is off from around the glass, and the vent shade is off. This is the replaced bedside. One of the things that happens on the bedside is that there was a little bit of factory wrinkling. We went ahead and took care of that, so it's just a nice smooth transition. As you can see, the bedside's been replaced, and there was some wrinkling, so we wanted to make sure that this job looked professional, so we took care of a little bit of what they call cleanup or just straightening at a replaced panel. This will happen on a lot of new panel replacements, especially with quarter panel repairs, because this stuff is just pressed. It comes in a big box, as you saw in earlier photos, so different things will happen during the pressing process. The repair to the cab corner and the rear door, again, you can see in the photo. Here's after they have primed the panels and then have sanded everything that's going to be painted. One of the key is to paint everything off so you get color or clear in areas that are front to back, bottom to top, and you want to make sure that when you assemble everything, you assemble it carefully, and that way it is a professional job and you don't have any tells of the paint. Again, just this is the inside of where the repair was from when the new panel came in. As you can see now, it's primed, so they're going to go ahead and paint that area specifically. Here's the front bumper that's been primed. The inside of the bed area has been primed. Again, top to bottom, front to back, you prime, color, or clear the panel as required. You don't stop halfway through. You don't cheat on the edges. Just photo of the right side after repair. It had a couple little nibbies that we took care of the back by the taillight. Again, the yellow tape, so when you're moving the bedside, it doesn't impact the rear cab. The right side panel and primer, it's already been sanded. It has to be, everything has to be washed down and then ready for paint, ready for the paint room. Here's the hood after it's been primed and sanded. Again, you'll see that everything has been block sanded. You will get a little areas that are highs or lows, but that gets taken care of with the sanding. Body side moldings, I did my friend Mark a favor here, and I sprayed his molding so it all looked nice on his truck. The sanded and front bumper ready for paint, and here's the finished product. If you notice, this whole bedside, because of what we had to do, took color from front to back, obviously top to bottom, and clear coats on and so forth. This other side is where we replaced the bedside and repaired the door. Now, the thing they showed people, color, clear coat, base coat, you don't have to put color through the whole panel. If you notice here how there's color here, and it becomes less, and less, but it's clear coated top to bottom, front to back. This cab corner got color all along the whole cab corner, so you don't get a blotchiness in the base coat. Again, just to show that we did the cab corner all the way around, even though you'll never see or feel in there. Same thing with the end of the bedside. You want to make sure that this is all done properly. Once the truck starts going back together, we run a straight line, tape line, to replace the body side moldings after they're retaped. Here's the refinished bumper bar, and they're installing one molding at a time and make sure that we have a nice straight line. Okay, there's the refinished other three moldings, and the vent shade is back in place, so on and so forth. And that's the end of our video, and now we're going to take you to show you the completed version.
So here you are seeing the vehicle for the first time. Wow, what a difference. Wow. Oh, it's nice to see my baby back. That deer really did a job on it.
He did.
The one has done one heck of a job from what I can see.
And here's your Z71 decals. The reason we haven't installed them is because we want to allow this paint to dry at least for 5 to 7 days. Now, we were fortunate able to paint this on Friday, sat all weekend before they reassembled it. We still want to wait some additional days before we install this, The reason that we want to wait is there's still a drying process that will go on approximately for about 30 days. Everything's dried to the touch, but there's still an evaporation process going on and a hardening process of the clear and the paint. So we'll have them stop back. These take about 5-10 minutes to put on per side. They're already marked, so they're going to go in a specific place right where they go.
Well, Juan, I want to take this time to thank you very much for a job well done.
Well, thank you, and it's always good to do it the right way first. You don't have to do it again.
I hope you guys all enjoyed here with Cigar Man. Stickers are on, and she's looking good.